Joining us now to preview what comes next in the nation's capital is Representative Ralph Norman, the congressman serving South Carolina's 5th District. So, Congressman, I know that we're still waiting on some of the results, but at the very least, it looks like Republicans will build on what they had going into this election. Democrats look like they will maintain control of the House, but there is a slimmer majority for them as well. What's your response to that?
Well, Alex, if you go back in time to the 116th Congress, Democrats held a 232 lead to 197. We had our 7th House seat called today. Max Rose got beat, so we have 14 more that are yet to be called. If everything goes to the ones that are leading right now, it'll be a 224 to 214 majority for the Democrats. That's a far cry from the 232 to 197. And it's exciting. It really is. People are not buying their message at all. Socialism does not work now, and it will not work as they say it will if they get their chance to change the system.
And I want to ask you what fueled that type of gain for Republicans as well. Is it a combination, for example, of them not only having good quality candidates on the ticket, but also the mistakes that Democrats have made as well? We've heard some behind the scene talks, whether it's from Abigail Spanberger, from other moderates as well, that perhaps terms like socialism, or embracing the defund the police slogan may have hurt Democrats. Do you think that is true?
Well, if you look at what the message was, Alex, I mean, who would vote for a candidate? And all of them had the same message. We're going to raise your taxes and spend your money. We're going to make it less safe because we're going to defund the very people who protect you. We're going to have more regulations. We're going to spend out far in excess of what we can even imagine on the Green New Deal. Some say 78 trillion, some say 100. We don't know. But I think that the American people see through what's happening. They're not to have a president running for office who stays out of the limelight, gets no questions from the press, and will not tell you what he's going to do is an answer in and of itself, and it's socialism. And he's got a real battle on his hands with the far left, the AOCs, a squad of 3 who are going to put pressure on him.
And when we talk about that, too, for example, yesterday Joe Manchin came out and said, defund the police. He was basically saying that he wasn't in favor of it. I think he said, defund my butt, which I don't know. I guess that's politics nowadays. But then this morning, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez responded with a picture of her staring him down, basically saying that I don't agree with you when it comes to the defund the police argument. And now we're seeing that progressives are really bringing that battle to the House of Representatives as well. There's some behind-the-scenes conversations where they may not support House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for that title, that they say that moderates are the reason why there was House seats. Did you see this type of infighting developing even before the 2020 election?
Somewhat, but not to the extent that it is now. I mean, I think you have an AOC with all the riots that are going on, which, by the way, no Democrat has ever denounced. For her to call the supporters of Donald Trump sycophants, and she's making a list, that's inciting violence. And as many have said in the House, put me on that list. Who is she to make that call? That's so irresponsible of her. You can have disagreements, but to form a list does no good for the country, but it shows how radical they are. People are not buying that. They want to raise their families in a secure environment, spend money on things that they want to spend it on, not politicians. If it's ever a slogan, we the people, it's now. And I think you're seeing the people rise up. That's why they got beat. Look at the money that they funded candidates. Lindsey Graham, the media always said he had a 2-point lead. He won by 10 points, 250,000 votes. And so you're seeing that all across the country, and I think the public is tired of it. They're tired of this. They can bicker among themselves, but when they start calling out, we're going to have lists as if we're going to do something to you, that's not fair, nor is it patriotic.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a time in history where lists were a good thing, maybe with the exception of like a Christmas list or something, but maybe parents still get headaches from those. But when we talk about what is going on with progressives, it seems like it's one of those situations where Democrats were on board with them because they were bringing with them a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, really reinvigorating the base a little bit. But now they might be a little bit too powerful for establishment Democrats or moderate Democrats to really rein them in. And we're seeing a time, too, where maybe there's the speakership on the line, or maybe there's key positions on committees that progressives may get as a consolation prize, if you will, maybe if they do end up voting for House Speaker Pelosi. But what do you think? Do you think House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is in jeopardy of losing that title?
I think she is. I mean, as you mentioned, I think 15 Democrats voted for her before. Only 10 are coming back. And if we continue to pick up seats of the 14 remaining, if we get 5 or 6 seats, no, I don't think she'll keep it. And I think the progressive left are going to drown her out. And power is all she wants, and that's what moves her. But no, I don't think she'll keep it.
And I think that's a good point, too, because, I mean, that is what happened in 2018 when they did take back the House. There were some concessions made in order for her to essentially get those votes at the end of the day, but they're still not happy. But before we let you go, too, what does that slimmer majority mean for Republicans? Does it mean that they do have more influence in this decision-making process, more of a checks and balance on Democrats?
Well, the big thing it does, Alex, is on our committees, we pick up more Republicans. And I think the only way you deal with Democrats, the radicals now, is you defeat them. They're getting defeats all across the country, and I think it'll resonate. And regardless of what the squad of 3 says to the American people, they're not buying it. If they did, they wouldn't be losing power in the House and in the Senate.
Yeah, no, I think that's well said, and I guess it's a phrase that we've used a lot over the past 4 years, but elections do have consequences, and I think Democrats are starting to kind of have that autopsy internally about what they can do in order to avoid this type of fate once again. But Representative Ralph Norman, it's always a pleasure having you on this program. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Pleasure. Thank you.